Yeah, that would have been if I forgot to record.
I just like this background. We've got a cold front coming in from over here. Oh, my arm. Where did it go? My hand. I'm reaching out the window. Oh,
that's crazy. It looks like you're actually reaching out the window because your arm's just.
I'm going to reach out the window. Let's see if I get my head out there. Oh, man, we should not be allowed to be on video. Well, actually, I think we both started on video. Still, true statement.
Dude, I made the mistake. So I was going to make a request to start this off with our segment. Well, are we doing segments? Do you have segments for us to do? Because I feel like
we kind of jumped in here. I don't have a ton. I do have a.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to do was what I hate about what my co-host did recently type of thing, and it was gonna be.
I might know where this is going.
Well, I don't know if you do. But here's the thing, is that. Right before I was planning to start like this, and then like 20 minutes ago, right before we started doing this, I went and watched your Karampa video, and I was like, now I have to feel sorry for him. Now I can't talk about what I hate about what he's doing, which seems really simple, even though he had a project he's got years and years into working on. At least I'm glad that you still have animals from it. At least there's there is silver lining on that cloud. If you lost the entire clutch, then I'd feel like a complete asshole for wanting to jump right into what my complain about things you've done and be that way that we start the podcast, because and then you jump in and go ahead and record, even though because I talked to you earlier about I want to record this on video because it's episode 10, B there's a lot of people.
Congratulations, 10 whole episodes.
Yeah, this is episode number 10, bro.
And we barely do anything, so that means we've been together almost a year.
Yes, that's true.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah. And but I was, it was a little miffed because I did want to start doing video stuff on it, and you were like, "Oh, that's too much work." And I'm like, "What do? You just sit down and you talk to me?" But I was asking you to hit record on your cell phone. It seems like the most difficult thing in the world.
Still working. Yeah, kind of.
But a lot of people did want to see, because when we did that live stream on your channel the other day, a lot of people wanted to, express that, like, "Oh, it's so great to be able to see you guys when you're doing this." And then the fact that we've got the drink sponsor that we have this month, like everything just made sense as to why to make it available video so that people can see what it is we're talking about. But
I'll concede, you were right. This is fun.
Good.
Especially with my little background. Oh, reach out the
window. Yeah, we're doing this on Zoom for those of you just listening to audio, and Garrett's playing with all the fun backgrounds, and he found one that fits him perfectly already, and he's having way too much fun with it.
It's like a car shop. I just reach over here. Wait, hold on. Just gotta reach back and grab something out of the trunk. There we go. I got it.
And your arm is literally disappearing. It's so legit. I don't know how Zoom does this, but they do a fantastic job of.
That's pretty good.
I'm impressed.
I'll tell you what. I gotta go grab something out of the freezer. You know what it is, but do you want to let everybody know about the drink sponsor?
Yeah, let's do that, or I'll do that while you go grab your Cold Stones. So Scott Bolter of West Coast Retics, and Garrett's going to have to fill me in on the rest of the name because Scott's changed his name on us a couple times. But Scott Bolter, who is a very good friend of ours and is an amazing human, has done what he usually does, and when he's doing something for somebody else, he goes above and beyond and out of this world. He really does. Like every time I see Scott do something for somebody, which he does often, it's always taken to the next level. So he not only did he get us both our own bottle of this stuff called a Midwinter Nights Dram, which is a blend of straight rye whiskeys finished in French oak port barrels, which I'm very excited about because I love whiskey that's been aged at all in any kind of wine barrel, whether it's port, whether it's sherry, whether it's doesn't matter. When whiskey gets finished in a wine barrel, I find that it's one of my favorite whiskeys. And so he got us both our own bottle so we could be drinking the same thing together. He got us a whole whiskey glass set with customized tumblers with our logos on the bottom of the glass where you're drinking. You look at it, one with our names etched in and with Searchable's Reptiles on there. If you're watching on video, you can see it right now. But if you're just listening, like these tumblers are super legit. They're extremely beautiful, and he got us both matching sets with our names on both glasses, so that if Garrett happens to be here on the West Coast, he doesn't need to bring his, and we can podcast and have the set. If I go visit Garrett in Pittsburgh, then we've got a set over there, and we can
How cool
use
is
that
that?
set.
How cool is that? You have
so
your
blown
own
away.
glass at my house.
I know,
Make
that's
you feel right at home.
And you have your own glass at my house, so it's like
I love it.
it's amazing,
I'm
dude.
serious. Like I'm being silly or whatever, of course, but I mean, I think this is the best drink sponsor yet. You know, I haven't even tasted the drink. I mean, and Scott, just so you know, I've literally been, you know, like looking for these things. I think I don't even remember why I didn't buy one. I had like a set pulled up or whatever. It wasn't this customized and all that kind of stuff, but just a whiskey drinking set for these podcasts. So yeah, hit the nail on the head with this one, huh?
Yeah,
very
dude,
cool.
I am unbelievably stoked. He couldn't keep the secret from me. And well, he did ask first. He's like, "Do you want to see what you're getting?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I do." And so he sent me a picture, and I was just like, I was blown away. And then when they just got here, he was really stressing about mine getting here on time, because for whatever reason yours got there a lot faster, even though it had to go all the way across the country. Mine just had to come down this side of the coast. It got here literally 2 hours ago, so it was just in time for the podcast.
Which is cool because we were going to do it yesterday. And it turned out today.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're airing this. This is another one of those things. Cheers, my friend.
Does this work?
Cheers.
Cheers.
This, yeah, I'm so stoked on these things, man. And, yeah, so this is going to be another one of those podcasts that's almost real time. It's almost like everybody's here with us live, because we're recording now, but this is going up tomorrow morning, so we waited till the last minute for these, and it was, again, well worth it, man. And another reason I want to do the video is because not only so people can see this stuff, but I feel like we have been very fortunate to have all these amazing sponsors, people willing to fly us out to places and do this stuff. I feel like it's just another benefit for those folks that are, you know, taking the not just the time, but the effort to do these sponsors for us, which, you know, is out of their hard-earned cash.
Yeah,
and just give them that extra spot to, you know, give them a little boost for being sponsors, you know.
Yep. No, I love it. Cheers. Thanks, Scott. Yeah.
Good
whiskey, too.
Well, we didn't taste it yet.
I did.
You did?
I did. You just kept talking. It's good. It's polished. It's got that rye taste, you know, like unmistakable rye. But then, like you said, the wine barrel thing gives it a weird, you know, like roll off your tongue aftertaste.
Yeah,
kind of
nice.
nice.
It's a little sweet backbeat. It kind of coats your whole
like
tongue.
hearty, you know.
Yes, yes, I love. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm gonna pour just a touch of water in just to open up the flavor.
Okay, Scott, you win.
All right, good luck on anybody trying to beat Scott. I mean, if you get maybe like a bottle of Macallan Grand Reserva 18 or something, I'm talking like, you know. We're talking about some ridiculous.
Are you scumbagging? You're scumbagging people right now. You're trying to plant the seed so that you'll get some of that.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying, like, it's going to take something serious to beat this drink sponsor. That's for sure. So,
yeah,
not that you have to. I mean, we appreciate every sponsor, obviously, but man, the logo looks so legit, dude.
It's perfect. It's all glass etched on here. It's very cool. Well, I'll tell you what. I have something. I think you were doing the, you know, what you hate about me, and you were saying that it's not that I wouldn't record or whatever. I actually thought you might have mentioned the shipping thing. I did an unboxing on my Instagram channel, and after
you received an animal, you mean?
I received an animal, yeah, and did an unboxing, even though I'm holding animals from being shipped from a lot of people. You know what I mean? And not necessarily that.
Hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly. But not even that I'm holding. I'm just passing the buck. You know what I mean? I mean, if Ship Your Reptiles is saying, hey, we got too many delays, it's too much of a risk for us financially to do a live arrival guarantee, then I'm saying, hey, if they think it's too much risk and they can't make money on it, I don't want to send those delays. I was talking to a guy today that had crazy delays, and not just delays, but like weird mix-ups. They sent snakes to the wrong city and things like that. I think they're just they're just pretty swamped, you know. And I think a lot of stuff is getting through okay too. But anyways, what I wanted to do was kind of test our local shipping lanes. I'm feeling like this stuff's going to open up soon. I'm hoping it does. Obviously, Ship Your Reptiles, they're making their decisions based on you know how much they're seeing on delays. By the way, your YouTube video with Chad Brown was on point. That was really good. But I kind of want to test a few things. So I have a few animals of mine that are going out like to friends or other breeders, people who understand like life is life, and Garrett is not the cause or sole responsibility for the worldwide pandemic, and you know what I mean, that things might go wrong and can go wrong, and I'm shipping them my animals, you know, like for either a breeder loan or something like that. So I've shipped a couple of mine out. I've received a couple of mine in, and, you know, been talking to the FedEx drivers and the hub and all that kind of stuff, and just trying to make sure that everything's ready, because, you know, when it opens up, like, or whenever we decide to ship, I still like to trickle it out, but shoot, we have well over 100 snakes to ship out all at once.
Wow.
It's going to be insane.
Yeah, I've got nothing near like that. So you said you actually did ship out a couple animals.
I have shipped a few animals out, yes, not to customers. And the reason why is because I feel like the first ones out are going to be the riskiest. There's the most unknown, you know what I mean? I think the system is still kind of in its peak, you know, but we need to test the shipping lanes.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean not to customers?
Packaging. I haven't shipped any animals to customers yet. I'm still holding customer animals. I have animals that are mine. Like, for example, I shipped one to Texas that was a little male super dwarf that's going to be going out on breeder loan.
Gotcha.
You know,
gotcha.
I've shipped a couple to California, but they're all my animals. So if something, you know, God forbid, should happen and the animal should die, I don't want it to be a customer's animal who paid me 3 months ago, is waiting patiently for their animal, and only to hear, hey, guess what? Your animal's dead. You know, it got delayed 3 days and stuck somewhere cold or whatever. You know, I don't know.
Totally.
So...
but
I'm hoping it comes around soon.
I also shipped a couple animals after that talk with Chad, and you know the different things that he relayed is the information, and it made me feel a little more at ease, and you know just kind of paying more attention to what, you know, what I'm shipping and where, and just taking into consideration all those things. I have sent out a couple animals as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And of course they both got there with no issues.
That's good. Yeah, that's very good. It's definitely still not the same for everybody. I've heard some stupid stuff that's going on with the FedEx system, but I mean, my thing is too, like with so many animals going out, I'm sure that I'm going to see every problem that there is to see, because I've got, like I said, over 100 animals going all across the country, so it's going to be a little bit nuts. But anyway, so there was one other thing. I have a question for you for our dive deep into the shallow end. And then I'm going to kind of tee this off to you. I think, you know, I'm obviously the chronic talker of the two of us. But I have something for our listeners that I'm going to do based on their replies and responses. I had all kinds of calls and texts about this that we talked about in our last episode, about something that I can do physically to make myself a better and more professional snake keeper, specifically baby snake handler. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Since we're doing video, I got a little setup. I set it up down here. I brought a little wash basin, a towel, some soap and water. I wanted to get the big foam. I thought that would be cooler on video, but I've never used that stuff. So soap and water and a towel, and we're gonna shave off. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that hairy forearm. And the sad thing is I'm so white and freckly underneath it. I know that I'm going to look all skinny as soon as I do, because, you know, any semblance of bulk in my forearms comes from the fluffy hair, you know, protruding from it. So as soon as I shave, I'm going to look like a little chicken legs sticking out or whatever. But
I vaguely remember reading one comment when you brought that up, and we put it on the Searchables Reptiles Facebook group. for people to give feedback. I do feel like there was one person who was like, I don't know if you should be babying them like that. Like, kind of, what if the person you send them to has hairy arms, and then they're like, oh man, what is this hairy arm person? And, but there's always going to be a counterpoint to anything you do, right?
Oh, I mean, that's a very valid point. It's definitely one of the arguments, and my philosophy on the animals is I do not baby them at all. I mean, a whole part of it is like desensitizing them to life in captivity so they have the best chances of success wherever they go.
Right.
So, but that being said, everybody wants to see me shave my arms on a podcast. So I leave you with this question, and then I'm going to go ahead, make sure my video is still working. Looks like it's still working. I think I can see myself over there. I'll check real quick. But I'm going to go ahead and shave my arms while you tell us the answer to this week's Dive Deep in the Shower, this month's Dive Deep in the Shower.
It's a trivia question now?
Now, kind of. I mean, no, it's not a trivia question.
Okay.
It's more like a silly question.
All right. I don't know why I'm feeling nervous about it, but...
Well, it's just because I come up with such good questions. Do you remember the butter side down one?
Yeah, that was great.
These are mind-blowing. These are mind-blowing conversations. So my question to you this time is, if you could pick one thing to never run out of, have a continual supply of this for the rest of your life, what would it be? It's not like you're stranded on an island, you get to pick one thing. It's like your life is normal, but I'm going to completely sponsor unlimited amounts of whatever you want.
I mean, I feel like money is a cheap answer, but...
Yeah, it's also a bad one. You could do better than that. I'm going to go shave my arms.
Okay, go shave your arms. I don't know why you're leaving with this. I don't really like this question, by the way.
What?
I don't, because...
you want to say money?
I mean, simply because, at least in our current situation, money is still worth things, and people will give you things for it, and just about anything, really, that you might need in this world of physical...
It's flexible. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's very flexible. You can use it to get whatever you might need physically right now. If money loses its value and the whole system comes crashing down, it's going to be some nice kindling to get your campfire started. But
haven't you ever heard the saying, there are some things money can't buy?
Yeah, that's true, but they're not physical.
You just seem like the type that could... Yeah, I know, but that's okay. I didn't say it had to be physical. I just said one thing.
Oh, love, bro. Love. If we're leaving the realm of the physical, then and never-ending, everlasting love. That's okay. I mean, because for me, like, the feeling of love in my life, I've gotten to know some real love. I mean, like a level of love that I hope that everybody at some point in their life gets to experience the type of love I've gotten to experience, because it's mind-blowing. It's world-changing. It's the best thing that I could have ever asked for in this world, is to get the amount of love that I've gotten from other people, from my love for people, the love for my children, the love from my children. That love is, oh man. I mean,
you've definitely got it good in that arena. I've sampled that myself, and boy, this is like silky smooth already.
It looks amazing.
A third of the way down one arm. There's a lot of hair. I should have brought more razors.
Yeah, it's I mean, remember, I won't drag people back to what I was shaving last time, just because nobody will ever listen to this podcast again if I talk about it again. But yeah, it's difficult when an area that's never been shaved before and you're shaving it for the first time. It's not like you're shaving the stubble off of your face, which is, a couple of swipes and you're good. When you're shaving long hair, you have to go over each spot like several times, and then
1.5 million. This might take me the rest of the podcast.
I can't believe you're doing it. But yeah, I mean, love, dude. I'll say it again. There's nothing quite like it. And
all you need is love.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that the majority of songs are inspired by it. That the majority of songs in the world are mostly inspired by love. Whether it's love of a child, love of a person, just love for anything. Love for weed.
It's what they think love would be like. It's one of those grass is always greener.
Yeah,
the best love songs are from the people who don't get it. Come
on. They're trying to. Well, that you might have a point. But that's, yeah. Money can't buy you love, right? Who said that? The Beatles? Did they know what they're talking about or not?
That was before my time.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the simple answer. I don't know if I can elaborate on that really anymore. And well, I guess enough love to go around for everybody would be, if I've got endless amounts of it, then there would be that, and I wouldn't have to worry about.
Taking it to another level now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to think about other people and worrying about if they've gotten enough love in their life, because a lack of love in somebody's life it just goes to really bad places. I feel like
that would be really cool with money too, by the way, if you were a generous person.
Right. Well, I would do the same thing. The little money I do have, I do try to spread it around as much as possible to where, at least I can take care of us here, but then try and take care of other people where I can.
Dude, forget razors. I need another bucket of water. This bucket has like a film of hair over it now, and I can't even rinse. I can't even rinse it off.
I think it would have been, it would have behooved you to maybe take the buzz clippers to it first to like get the main layer down, or at least some scissors.
I felt like it wouldn't give the full effect for the video, and oh my gosh, do I really have those chickeny leg arms I was talking about?
Are you showing this on your cell phone recording? Because that's where we're really going to need it.
I mean, you can see it.
Okay.
I'll go a little closer. Look at that. It's disgusting. I look like my arms look like the arms of my iguana in high school.
For those of you guys that are just listening, and those of you guys that haven't joined our Facebook group, Searchable Reptiles, you should come over and join it and let us know if this video has been worth it so far. If you're watching on the video, I still have to. By the way, dude, the reason I was going to complain about you, like complaining about having to hit record on your cell phone and send me the file, is like I've also got lots of work to do to make it happen. I got to start a YouTube channel for it, and do everything that comes with making that happen. And
to be fair, I was not only worried about myself.
Oh, okay.
I know that you have a lot of work to do. So.
All right.
And as somebody who always wants to do everything for everyone, I know that it can be difficult to say no. So when you were proposing that we do this, I wanted to make sure that you weren't creating an unnecessary burden for yourself.
All right.
I wanted to be the podcast host that says, it's okay if you don't want to do this, Brian.
All right. Just make yourself look good. I know you're good at that. You're right. How long are you going to be over there shaving that stuff? Well,
oh my gosh. I'm gonna pretty much, this arm is like 80%. I think we get the idea. I'm moving over to the other one.
Oh, you're going to shave both of them right now?
Well, I guess I could just finish the one and then have them for contrast. That would be cool. They're all soapy right now, but I can wash that off.
Yeah, let's just leave the one. I kind of want you back. I mean, it's weird enough watching you shave your arm. It's another thing with this Zoom green screen background you have where it actually looks like parts of your arm and hand are disappearing while you're doing it. It's a little
cut too deep.
It's a little disconcerting, to be honest, and it's kind of distracting as well. And I've answered your question, I think, quite well. I believe that was a pretty good answer. If I had to go back and think about what it was I said and listen back to it, I think that love is a good answer for that. I mean,
that is a good answer.
What about you? Like, what would be your never-ending supply of physical or non-physical item, substance?
Carambas.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the videos, by the way. The way they're put together too. Just like the storytelling is on point.
That's good.
Yeah, with this new guy that you have filming the videos and editing.
Thomas Wicker.
Thomas Wicker. Well, Thomas Wicker, you're doing a fantastic job on Garrett's videos. As a very anal and opinionated person when it comes to video production and how things look and how things sound and how they're presented, I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, I will say the noise when the two of you were sitting, when you and Aaron were sitting in the room talking, the audio could have been better. But that's, again, super anal, super opinionated about quality.
We actually weren't mic'd up for that.
Oh, okay.
So
well, it showed.
That's why.
Or it sounded. But when Aaron's sitting there at that, wherever he's at, a hotel or something, talking directly to the camera, the audio was super crispy.
Yeah.
And
he does a good job, and it's kind of fun. We're like, feeling it out still as far as how this works. It is kind of interesting because Oh gosh, I'm just gonna be sticky all night if I don't figure out how to rinse this off.
Not thinking 12 steps ahead this one, huh?
No, I didn't. But I'm gonna go rinse my arms. Everybody, Brian Cusco. This will be 2 seconds.
Oh my God, dude. I guess
I don't have my headphones on. You can say whatever you want about me.
Oh my God, this guy. It's funny because I always complain about Garrett talking too much or talking over me or just, not letting me talk a little bit on the podcast. Not that I don't. When I end up going back and seeing the video file, I can see, or seeing the audio file, I can see which end is Garrett and which one's me. And it's actually pretty even, but I still like to complain about it. But now that he's gone, it's like, it's one of those things, right? You don't know what you've got until it's gone. And I realize now, and I think I've known this before, which is why I was really happy to do this with Garrett, is because if I have to sit there and talk by myself for endless amounts of time, I don't know if it's that good unless I have something really good. I need somebody to bounce off of to keep this going for longer than I do the Cusco and cuts, and they last about 10, 12 minutes, but that's about all I got in me, honestly. From there,
I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
Thank you.
Oh, man. You remember from your days of interviewing me for Triple B TV that you can, pretty much just ask me one question and you got your episode.
Yeah, but you know what? That's true. That's true. But what also is true is that seems to be true of just about every guest that I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Everyone complains to the opposite effect. I know for me, I've interviewed people and I really have to pry. For the most part. I mean, everyone's a little different, but usually you really got to pry. These people come on to do an interview. They give you one-word questions, and you're like,
there's something, and I know this, I know myself well enough now that there's something that I've got that the people are comfortable opening up to me and telling me their life stories. This has happened time and time again, whether it's just on a bus or, in the creek anywhere. People just, this is a quote that I've heard from other people.
In the creek.
Yeah, creek, wherever.
You run into people in the creek and they tell you your life story.
Their life story, yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, it happens. This
I don't know that I've ever run into anyone in a creek before.
You're not spending enough time in the creek. There's
not.
There's a quote that my most quoted phrase that I get from other people, specifically people I don't know very well. I've never told anybody this yet, but and then whatever it is. There's a couple people I had on, and before the interview, they're saying, I don't like being on camera. You're going to have to make sure you ask me lots of questions and keep going. But then once we sit down, and they actually sit down with me, this is texting before we're meeting up or something. And then we sit down and it's the same thing. Just like it was you, just like it was anybody. I ask a couple questions and I'm ready to listen to what they have to say. A perfect example was, oh my God, why am I spacing his name right now? Mike. I know too many people now, Garrett. I never used to know this many people. I really didn't, and I don't know why I'm spacing on his name right now. He's he's somewhat Mike Breezy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was one of the people. Then there's been many, but he was one of the strongest. It was I don't want to necessarily talk a lot and do this. And then when we sat down to
Mike
do
doesn't seem like that kind of guy to me, but.
I don't know. I mean, on camera, maybe that was his concern. But once we sat down and started talking, it was the same thing as you. I asked a couple questions and I get all kinds of stuff. I didn't have to, but that's my point, is that it happens with just about everybody I have on. It's very rare. How many people have I had on now? I think a couple hundred at this point. And
oh yeah, easy.
Yeah, and I don't have to poke and prod. I ask. And people even say it afterwards. Oh, I didn't really let you talk much. I'm like, well, that's not what I'm interviewing you for. we know what everybody that watches my channels kind of knows what's going on with me. I have people on because I want to hear what they're going to say, not what I'm going to say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This shaved arm thing is weird. I don't know if this is going to last. I can
it's going to last as long as it takes for that hair to grow back, my friend.
I obviously have to shave the other one now or it'd just be super weird.
I mean, you don't have
but
to.
I'm even just putting my arms down on the desk and they're sticking to it. It's no, what the heck? Gecko arms. I bet I could climb with these things.
Yeah, now that there's less, you'll have less, you'll have more friction. There'll be more friction now.
What do you think? Super freckly.
the Zoom screen is not really. This is why I can't wait to get back to doing things in person, man.
Yeah, I know. I am glad that we ran through this a couple of times before this whole thing happened, because at least we were prepared, But yeah, that was definitely one of the goals, was to always podcast these things in person, and I thought it was a pretty realistic goal, given that we do it once a month.
I want to know, how do you scroll through Facebook on a daily basis? Do you go on social media on a daily basis, or
very little? I mean, I go on, I make my posts, I try to comment back to people and stuff like that, but if I scrolled Facebook, I have people that have been waiting for me to send them back an email or a message from a week ago or whatever. I just never get to it. Right. So I just don't have the time.
And you don't watch the news either at all?
No, I definitely don't watch the news. Yeah, unless it's about reptiles being banned in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, the one thing that's out there, there's the bill that they're looking to pass that involves the second wave of stimulus checks being sent out. And apparently there is buried within that bill, as I guess often happens with bills, all kinds of other things get attached to them and buried inside of them to try and get passed along with them. On like page 1600 or something of this bill, they're moving for that Lacey Act thing again. They're moving to ban interstate travel. Apparently that's in that bill. I saw, USARK post. I always get the alerts from USARK.
That is ridiculous. How do they even hear about that?
I don't know. It's just something. That's just what I read. That's what I read, and it came from USARK, and I have pretty good faith in their information mining abilities when it comes to laws that are being passed for reptiles.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just got to say this. I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about the way other people live their lives and things like that. And a lot of times we try to ban things we don't understand, or if we're on one side of it, then the other. But if you have to ban a reptile transport, if you have to hide a reptile transport ban in the pages of a stimulus thing that everyone's going to be like, yes, we need money, give us some money. Yeah, that's just low. You're evil. That's gross. Obviously, you're trying to impose your will on the majority, and that is not what our government is supposed to be about. The few imposing their will on the majority. It's getting ridiculous, people.
Yeah, I
Stop
agree.
imposing your will.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of having others' will imposed upon my own. It's one of the more sore spots in my life. Not sore, but just, yeah. If you want to get me irate or get me worked up about something, try to tell me what to do. That's a sure way to get my angst.
It's true, folks. It's true.
I guess that's a little bit stubborn, because I am stubborn, but also I just don't like being told what to do. What can I say? I think it comes.
No, who likes being told? Who likes being told what to do?
It might come from.
I'll tell you what.
Tell me.
Go ahead. Well, no. I mean, if you want to finish your thought, I was going to move on.
No, let's move on.
I was going to say, I was talking about how little time I have. One thing that has been an interesting development over here lately, and if you're watching our videos and Thomas's videos, you'll start to see this pretty quick. Did you catch any of the live stream that I did?
No, I saw that you went live earlier this week, and I remember you mentioned that maybe you wanted me to come on and do it, and then I saw that it happened without me, and I was like, oh, well, I guess he doesn't care about me anymore. I'm not going to watch that.
No. This was two different things.
What?
You wanted me to come on. Yeah, this was me just announcing Patreon on my channel. And you had invited me onto your thing so that you could announce it.
Right.
Which I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, so in my mind, it was two different things.
Oh, okay.
That was never supposed to be your live stream. That was a different. So Thomas is posting like one of these nice, professionally edited videos, right? Once a week on our channel every Friday. That way we can get our channel consistency there, and I can like turn the phone on and run around and be ridiculous live the other times. And I want to try to get back to doing 2 videos a week, which I used to do when I didn't have so many emails and messages to answer.
Which was kind of what the goals of starting the channel in the first place, was to have these emails to answer, right?
Yeah, now that I'm there, I don't need the channel anymore, so I just neglect it entirely. No, actually, so what's crazy is we've got this film crew hired, and one of the things that's been really interesting, I'm you know this about me. I'm like, you know what? Get the content out and get it out consistently and get good content out. Like, I would rather watch a video with poor production quality but great material and content.
Oh, absolutely.
Than the opposite. Now, sometimes I just want to sit down and just be barraged with eye candy, but for the majority of things, like especially on YouTube, if you say, hey, YouTube it, you're going there for information. So I just try to get information out. I mean, the first 6 months of my channel, I filmed and edited it on my cell phone and then put it up. Nothing besides that. And I think we grew to like 5,000 subs that way, or I don't remember.
It's good though. I mean, well, the content is good. Like, to your point, the content is good, and so regardless if it's filmed on a cell phone, and it was good. It still looked good.
Well, and then this about me too. My dad is like a producer for television. So, like, I know what good quality is. I'm like, man, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, trust me.
So what's been really cool is having Thomas come and film these things. I'm giving him my ideas for what the content should be, what kind of stuff should we talk about, and I'll even give him ideas for shots and things, especially with B-roll. I'm like, no, you gotta show this quality about that snake, because that's what really shows, its unique features or whatever. And I give him all these ideas, but then I'm turning it over to him. If you want to know the truth, that Kurumpa video, I really did not want to go back and relive that so much. It was painful enough just to do the video, to film the video.
Sure.
So I just left it to him and said, roll with it. And I like the way that he got everybody's different viewpoints on the situation and everything.
Yeah, the storytelling was again, I mentioned that before, but I really want to drive home the fact that the storytelling was phenomenal.
Yeah. So it's been kind of cool to delegate it, because I have a lot of ideas all the time about the way that things should be. And I've been learning to delegate those things a lot more. And sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I'm very pleasantly surprised. So besides Thomas to handle the YouTube, I have had Kimberly for a long time that helps me answer some of the social media stuff, like the stuff that goes to Reach Out Reptiles in general. She handles all that, which, by the way, guys, if you're trying to get a hold of us, I kind of recommend going through her. She'll answer you faster.
She's nicer too.
What's that? Yeah, she's definitely a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So, but if you need to know some specific snake thing or whatever, then you got to get a hold of me. But I mean, 99% of the stuff, she's been through it and knows how to answer it. So delegating that customer service to her was a big deal for me. And now I actually have hired on 2 more full-time employees. So Aiden still works for me. He's back at it. He can walk again, which is great. People who know my channel know that Aiden was my part-time like snake cleaner person. And he'd come in a couple days a week, but he got hit by a car. So he's back, and he's doing a lot more of the photography and editing here. I have an office manager named Jess, who is just phenomenal with multitasking. And, she gets stuff done. It's like, I love having stuff set up for me when I sit down so that I can be, maximize my efficiency. That's been amazing. I think it's hard to find an employee like that can compliment you like that. And then I've got Rob Roush, who is now full-time, facilities. So
really?
He's cleaning. Yeah, you know Rob, right?
Yeah, I do know Rob. I saw him over there, a couple times on videos, and for your live stream on the Reptile stream, the first virtual show and everything. I didn't realize that I thought he was just hanging out.
No, he's full-time now.
Wow.
5 days a week. So the coronavirus thing has been fantastic for us, because everybody that I've been, Rob keeps and breeds mainland reticulated pythons, so the Superdors are like no sweat for him. And he's handy around the shop, so I can get him, he's done a lot of little building projects. He has one more to do because I ripped the ceiling out of my reptile room today.
Okay.
So we'll get him on that. But yeah, so it's pretty crazy. It's me, Jess, and Rob full time, working here now, and then Thomas on the videos, Aiden with other photography and video stuff, kind of like more of the behind the scenes stuff, and Kimberly answering messages. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch
recently and quickly, and so Yeah, wild. And it's crazy to me that I feel like I'm busier than ever with all this help.
Yeah,
I don't know how that
Oh,
not just because of change of roles, and stuff that I'm now learning, more like managerial stuff, I've
sure.
managed stuff before, but it's very different when it's your own business.
Sure. Yeah, I still I don't know if I'll ever have an employee. I mean, I'm such a I don't know if I'm a control freak necessarily. Maybe I am. Maybe that's why I don't have any employees. Maybe it's because I couldn't possibly afford to pay an employee right now because my financial skills are lacking to the point that I don't really have any.
I would tell you this. This is what I've learned having, I think sometimes the best time to learn from someone is when they just finished something, right? So I've kind of just made that leap. Like even Aiden, when he came, he would just come when I needed him and, help out a little bit. Kimberly, works as she's able to throughout the day and turns in a minuscule amount of hours, but taking on all the full-time employees. Here's the crazy thing. This business is very much a part of me. It consumes my life. And so with anything that you have and hold that closely, you're going to be a control freak about it. I mean, it is you. It's like getting dressed in the morning. Like, I don't want to wear that. I want to wear this. It's me. You know what I'm saying? And so that has been, first of all, it's fun. Even as a control freak, when you get somebody on and they're on your side and they're reinventing you as they see you, it's really fun because it's like looking at a mirror image of yourself a little bit rather than the real thing, if that makes sense. There's like you see yourself, your desires, your passions reflected through them and what they're trying to do. They interpret you the way they see you. And a lot of times I think that's an even more accurate view of who you are than you think so yourself. So I think we all think a little bit differently of ourselves than the rest of the world sees us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think
so. It's
kind of
cool. Right. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And like I said, I'm definitely a control freak, and one of the things that you have to do is, things shift. I wouldn't say you sacrifice quality, but it's like your priorities are not necessarily their priorities, and a lot of times their priorities are better. So like a good example would be, I want to answer everybody in a very specific and educational way with as much detail and information and share my experience with them as much as I can. But I can only do that so many times. Whereas Jess's thing is like, Garrett, you have 300 messages. You just need to, let me sit down and hammer out all the ones I can, and you do the rest. And that's a scary proposition. On the other hand, it's not necessary because you feel like you're giving up quality. But you're not. The quality is the experience that everyone actually gets answered,
Sure. And she may be better at it than you. I don't know. I haven't had her reply to me yet, I don't think. I pretty much
she's not like a snake person, but she's definitely like a I'll take care of you person, So that's been really interesting to see that. And then the other thing that you said is it's because you don't have any money. The one thing that I've noticed is that the tighter, and this goes back to an old analogy, and I didn't realize it applied to this situation until this year.
Well,
they say if you're
money.
trying to hold,
I just give it away.
What's up?
I do have money. I just give it away and spend it on pianos and things like that.
Oh, I'm just being blunt. I'm just saying, you don't have the money to hire an employee or whatever and manage all that. So here's the thing, you may have heard the analogy, like if you're trying to hold sand in your hand and you have an open hand, you can hold a big pile of it.
Oh, yeah.
But as soon as you close your hand up, it all drops out and you have very little left in there. So the way that we run our businesses when we do it ourselves is like this. I didn't realize it applied, but we are doing things our way, this way, and we become our own greatest self-limiting factor. And it's funny because I've seen that in bosses of mine, that they are limiting themselves. But I didn't know that I would do that to myself. And when I refuse to delegate things, and it takes a huge, ballsy step of faith to hire someone, because you want to take care of them too. You don't want to promise them a wage or something like that and then not be able to provide for them or
Sure.
whatever. But at the same time, it's opening your hand, and so much more sand gets poured in there that you can actually, it's all running through your hand, and you get to touch and feel it all, even though it's happening without any effort of your own.
Well, you're making
So
me
it's
you're making me
really cool.
think. I say I haven't hired anybody, but I have paid people to take care of the snake. Well, not people, but person. I got my buddy, Jalen. He worked with Hillary. I met him through her at their work when they worked together, and he's the guy that would always come and take care of the snakes when I'm gone. Like when I was in Australia, he came here, even though Hillary's here. You know, I don't rely on her to take care of the snakes because that wasn't part of the deal. Even though she could, I would pay him to come. You know, like when we went to Hawaii and just those trips where I'm gone for, when I'm gone, he'd come and take. And he did. Oh man, he did such a great thing one time. I like a moron when I was supposed to bring my snake Junior up to Davis to have that extensive vet trip when he stayed with Riley. I was on my way to Freedom Breeder on that trip and stopped at Freedom Breeder first, and I forgot to bring the snake. I every now and then I forget something, and that time it was that I forgot to bring the snake that I was supposed to be bringing to Davis. I got a hold of Jalen, and he almost at the drop of a dime went and got the snake and drove 3.5 hours one direction to bring me the snake, and then right back home. And I paid him for it. But man, you're making me think like I should really consider even when I'm here, and which I am here now a lot, having Jalen, hiring him on even just part-time. I think this might be something I need to do. And this has crossed my mind before, but I haven't really seriously considered it until now. I'm speaking about it out loud to you. Is maybe I should really consider hiring on Jalen part-time to help me, because I am, to your point, like for whatever reason now I'm super busy now that things are slowing down on some ends, the snake industry and the whole thing. I'm busier than I've ever been somehow.
Yeah. And I would say you easily have at least 1 8-hour shift in cleaning those animals. And the other thing that you have to realize, and this was something that I learned too, is that even if someone, like I can go in there and bust my own animal room out very quickly, as far as cleaning, because I know everything. I know where everything is. I know the personalities of all the snakes, if I had to move them, that kind of thing. But, if I hire somebody, they might be a lot slower, but they're probably making less money than me too. So it kind of balances out. If I had another one of myself, I wouldn't work for me for any less than X amount. You know what I'm saying? So if I make twice as much money, but I work twice as fast, I'm worth it. And if you can get somebody that is happy to come in and work at, it's a lower wage job generally, cleaning snake cages, but if you get them that are willing to come in and do that, like Aiden is very good at it now. Well, he's probably a little rusty now. He hasn't done it in 4 months, but by the time, Aiden's been with me for more than a year now, and he improved vastly in that period of time. He has his own names for all the snakes and everything. It's really cool to see somebody else come in. If you can get, and this is, I think, the key, if you can get employees that can catch your vision for what you're trying to do, then it's really cool to see them come in and implement your vision in their way. That's really neat.
Oh, yeah, I think wow, this is great. I'm glad we're doing this today because I think I'm going to reach out to Jalen. Well, not I think I'm going to. I'm going to reach out to him because one of the other things, like, he'd help when I'm gone, and then he wouldn't do things exactly how I wanted, and there's some pointers. I'd go over some stuff with him, but he's not here enough to learn it. Like you said, like with Aiden, you're saying he's rusty because it's been 4 months, but it's the same thing with Jalen because he'd be here only when I'm gone, which is not that often, and then so he doesn't really have a flow. He doesn't have a feel. He's kind of like learning it all again when he comes back. But if I had him here every week, well, he'd have a little more flow and he'd get better at it with repetition.
Way better. Way better. It takes a while. Like, so for your room, if he's only there once a week, it's only coming 4 times a month. But, that it all stacks up. If you get somebody there 5 times a week, which you can't really do that in your situation because you don't have the number of animals to clean or whatever. But man, they catch on really quick. They get way better. The experience is better. Here's the only thing I would say for you from a business standpoint is that if he's taking that time off your desk, you need to now reapply yourself to make more money because you have 2 people to provide for now. So that was always the scary part for me, was providing for them. But to be honest, I mean, when I quit my job and started doing the snake thing full time, I was very skeptical that that would even work, that I'd be able to provide for myself, my wife, my kids, the family, and they more than provided for it. And then I brought Aiden on to help a little. And then, like I said, I have Jessica basically runs my life now in very short order. And Rob runs the shop like it was his own. It's great. It's really cool because Jess likes to come in and have that much purpose. Like, she can see that she's definitely helping me. So for her to come in and feel like she has that much to do makes her feel really good. She's really needed, I think. She's kind of quiet, and then that's what I pretend and I imagine about her in my own head. And then Rob, I think Rob just, he's got some really nice snakes over at his place, but this is like, professional level. It's just it's a higher level of snake keeping. So I think it's really cool for him to come keep snakes in this way and then go home and decide what he's going to apply of what he's learned to his own. And he's, his collection is changing and evolving because of it.
And Rob's cool too. I really like Rob, man.
Oh, everybody's going to like him. Wait till the next video. It's a Rob video.
Okay.
I hope that Thomas has enough good sense to censor Rob where he needs to be censored.
Oh.
Because sometimes Rob needs to be a little... I mean, he'd be fine on this podcast. But on my YouTube channel... So, I mean, literal quote, just a teaser for all of you guys on the Rob episode that's going to come up. He said, Garrett, can you ask Thomas not to put so much bleeding nipples in that video because my niece might watch?
Wait. Oh, okay. All right. I'm intrigued. I'll watch it.
Okay. I'm just saying it's a teaser, but that's Rob for you. So there's going to be a lot of bleep, bleep, and,
you said bleeding nipples, right? I heard that right?
Yeah, you heard
bleeding
that right.
nipples.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't want the full effect of the bleeding nipples scene to make the final cut. So now those people who are on my Patreon, I'll put a shameless plug for it, will get to see director's cuts of those kinds of things. You can see his nipples bleed all you want.
Well, I'll do a shameless plug for my Patreon. I think next week we're going to have Garrett on, Garrett on as our Zoom guest. That's something we've been doing on Patreon is, we've done it once, to be fair. But we did start having Zoom meetings. I mean, we had a guest once, but we've done a couple of Zoom meetings where instead of the live stream that I usually do every week, we actually had a Zoom meeting. So everybody could kind of jump in and be able to contribute audibly to the conversation instead of just through a chat on a text. And we had Dave Kaufman on to kind of hang out. And so I'm thinking that I'd like to have you on next. And it's just one little extra bonus for folks, like to just have that sort of almost one-on-one time with you on a video call type of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So do your patrons get to actually talk and participate in the Zoom meeting?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dang. I had that same idea. I just thought it was more original. I just thought you were using Zoom as a platform for the thing.
No, I use YouTube.
Because I know you can chat and everything too.
Sure. Yeah, I use YouTube for the live streams. No, but this Zoom meeting is actually everybody's in there and, talking and being able to have conversation audibly with each other and myself and whoever happens to be there.
That was one of our things when we sat down and tried to create all the perks is that at one of the levels, like we're going to do, streams like that. And we were going to use Zoom as well, just because I know how to do it now and I have fun with this background. Look, chicken leg out the window.
Well, I'll go ahead and one up you then, because it doesn't matter what level you're at on my Patreon. Everybody gets to participate, even if you're only in at $3.
That's cute. That's cute. No, they'll get to be on, and there's like a chat thing or whatever. But we're gonna have like featured people on there. So like if one of the perks of the Patreon thing is, I did a meeting like this in a BNI group, if you know what that's. It's like a networking business group. But they had 60 people in this Zoom meeting, which is insane. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
And everybody participated in this meeting.
Wow.
And so it had to be super structured. But what was kind of cool was they gave everyone they called it a 40-second commercial, And
Okay.
so you like I went in as a guest because I was not a regular in this, chapter, segment, whatever they are, club, and was kind of like, hey, I'm Garrett. I breed reptiles, and this is what I'm looking for. If anyone knows, of a way that I can do this, like you could look for connections with people or whatever it is. But you get like a 40-second commercial, and they just ran through everybody like that. And I thought that was really cool. So I thought it'd be neat for patrons to be able to jump on there and, have whatever they want to say prepared to say. And then they can jump in, ask a question, leave a statement, whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
and
it's
just kind of
cool.
have like a fun little time thing for it.
It's cool because Patreon out there in the snake keeping world or whatever breeder world, it gets kind of a bad rap sometimes. People like, it's a point of pride to a lot of people. I don't have a Patreon, blah blah blah. But I think it's whatever you make it, right? Like you're able to make it. If you're not able to provide value for people on it, then I mean, people aren't going to do it anyway, right? And like if people don't feel like they're getting anything out of their money, then they're not going to do it anyway. So anyway, I don't know.
Well, for us,
I need to
kind
stay
of
off
structured
Facebook,
like
dude.
Facebook getting you down, huh? Yeah, I'm all happy and ignorant over here of everything everyone's been saying about me.
Yeah, I need to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, but no, so for us, it's actually very direct because the patron, support actually goes towards bringing people like Aiden in there more often, whose entire job is to go in, set up the Patreon stuff, record it, film it, be a part of it. So like we're going to do room tours with Rob or Aiden occasionally. People can, say, hey, I want to see that snake or this snake or whatever. And that time would not be afforded the community if it wasn't for the Patreon support. I mean, we've never done it before because we haven't been able to.
Totally.
But if this, so I think it's a great opportunity to have a greater sense of community, where I can actually interact with people on a regular basis. They can kind of get the behind the scenes and see what's going on. And we don't do a lot of that on our videos either. I think we've been doing more now with Thomas, but more of my stuff has been very factual. And I'll tell you what, crossing over to the let me share my experiences with you side is pretty brutal. People like to give you their opinions of your decisions in life.
Oh yeah,
What I mean?
That's what happens when you put it out there, man. People got opinions. They're willing to share them often.
I mean, it's one thing if it's like, I don't know, if you're like, hey, what do you think about this? Or I guess if you're doing something that is, I don't know, attacking someone or insulting in some way, or they get a rise out of them or whatever. But I'm talking about people just like you just share an experience and they're like, yeah, you suck, you know what I mean, or whatever. You're like,
I'm well aware of what you mean.
I was like, well, I know you do. I'm just saying, like, I
Is
don't
it someone a little more new for you?
No, I mean, I haven't had one that like seriously pissed me off yet. Maybe we did. Didn't I talk to you about one you were talking about? This would have been a while ago.
Well, yeah, there was one. I don't remember what it was, but there was definitely one that got to you.
Couldn't have been that bad. But I mean, I usually don't get bothered by that kind of stuff. I just wonder, like, why did you take the time to type that out? Go answer one of my messages for me instead. If you're going to take the time to type something out, make it worth it.
Well, there's always those folks, man. There's always going to be those folks, and I just feel fortunate to have never been one of them where I feel like I need to leave a comment like that for somebody I don't even really know about what I think about what they're doing wrong and why I need to tell them they suck for it. I've literally never done that to anybody.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And when it's attached to your business, I've actually had people try to attack your business, which this is the way that my children eat, that I take care of my wife. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, well, I want to try to cause you financial,
Oh yeah, I've had people
distress because
I've had people send emails
to in the video.
Emails to Lindy and to Freedom Breeder trying to get him to stop supporting me.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You're like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, do I try to get you fired from your work? Like, how absurd would it be if you got mad at somebody commenting and you went to their work and you sat down with their boss and tried to get them fired? That would be outrageous. But that's what these
It's a
people
new
do.
thing.
It's like,
It's a
where
fair-
do you get off being so entitled to do that?
Well, you
Oh
got
my
this,
gosh.
these magic.
I'm going to come to your house and slap your mother. You know what I mean? How you feel about that?
That's funny you use that example because I always say that I don't really get offended by stuff really, but if you wanted to really offend me, that'd be the one move.
Come to your house and slap your
Oh
mother?
yeah. No, you want to see offended Brian? Just do that, and it'll be
Nah, you and me and your mom, we tight.
Oh yeah. No, not you. Just anybody who wanted to try to pull the offensive card out of me.
Yeah. No, family's a good thing to attack that way. That's for sure. Well, we're going to have to figure out how to get this thing going on in person again here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I was pretty stoked. We were going to set up there. I was going to come out to, I heard Jesse Johnson was going to do a location thing and run me out there. And then we were going to do a show, but it was like linked to a reptile show that's long since canceled down in Atlanta. So, boy, it really put a big thing on there.
Yeah, I'm being as responsible as I think I should be when it comes to all that stuff, like, trying to whatever we're supposed to do, flatten the curve and whatever. But I'm also like, I'm over it. I'm ready to go hang out with people, like, and I don't know. And I'm ready. Like, if you were to come out here, if you would have been here right today, like, I don't know how Ashley would have felt about it, but I'd have been all for it. I've been like, yeah, dude, come out. You can crash in the snake room.
I think moving forward, the only thing to do is that either sick people or at-risk people need to continue. I mean, the whole world has learned that, yes, you're going to, like, even morons are forced to be sensitive to these issues right now. You can't go in a store without a mask on, things like that. But moving forward, I mean, we need to let the healthy people get out there and do their thing. Keeps the world going round. You know what I mean?
I suppose the one valid, well, there's always going to be valid arguments on either side, in my opinion. But one of the valid arguments for not doing it yet that I've seen is that there's a lot of asymptomatic people out there. You don't know you're sick. You don't feel sick. You feel fine, but you can still go out there and spread it around. That's kind of what asymptomatic's being, right? You don't know you're sick, but you're still carrying it and spreading it. I don't know. I'm still like, Jimmy came over here the other day. I gave him a big fat hug, dude. Like, I also go outside a lot. I roll in the dirt. I roll in the mud. I expose myself to the elements on a regular basis. Damn it.
Is that you?
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. You go ahead.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but Brian has a Freedom Breeder thermostat alarm going off right now, and I was like, I don't know if you saw it, Brian, but I was like, is that me? I can hear that. Is that the reptile room? There shouldn't be any Freedom Breeder thermostat alarms going off. Oh man, dude! I like their stuff. They're new. Those like 4-banger, the 4-zone thermostats they have. Their setup and programming and stuff is really nice. Like, they have made a lot of improvements. But I've got some beef that I'm gonna talk about.
Shit. Hold that thought 1 second, my friend.
Oh, you have. Oh, I thought you were like with me on how upset I am about this, but. Wah, wah, wah. We'll go fix it, and I'm going to air some grievances for a minute here. Yeah, I mean, okay. So here we go. So I've got this very cool prototype rack from Freedom Breeder. If there's anybody that's seen my video with the... I'm calling you out, Freedom Breeder, what I don't like or whatever. I love the products, but I didn't like that they didn't make any like arboreal. They didn't have any support for anything that was semi-arboreal. And not that it's their fault, but, people start keeping species in racks that probably really shouldn't be there. But I love, on the other hand, the convenience of keeping and cleaning a rack. So they built a prototype, and it's an arboreal prototype. And I told Lindy, I said, hey, listen, if there's any species that's going to be the perfect species to test a new system, it's a reticulated python, because those boneheads are going to tell you anything and everything that is wrong with your product right out of the gate. And it turns out I was correct. So I tossed a couple of little wild-caught Jampayas just to give you an idea on size on these snakes. The cages are like 2 by 2 by 2 cubed, basically. And I have these tiny little jamps inside of these cages. Well, that wild-caught male was bound and determined to find every different way that he could break this prototype rack down. And because it is a prototype, it doesn't have all the bugs worked out like their normal product lines do. So he figured out a way to actually unlatch and open, like Lindy had like this sliding lock thing on there, but the snake figured out a way that he could unlock it from the inside. And so he worked all night long and he let himself out of his cage. And when a snake gets out, here's the other problem with rack systems. When you have one snake out, have you ever had this happen, Brian? They crawl around.
I've had a
crawl
snake
behind the tubs and they push them all out and they release all their friends.
I've never had that happen, actually.
No, just a matter of time, I guess. Because I like to say that I never had things happen once upon a time too. And then it happened. So the bigger snake, he's like 5 foot or something like that. It's basically like a corn snake. But he turned loose a hatchling snake. There was like a one-of-a-kind snake that I had sold to my buddy John Cashman for, it was a $6,500 snake. And irreplaceable, and something that we had worked very hard for, a lot of plans for the future for this animal, unique bloodlines. Anyway, the big guy turned the little guy out. We found the big guy right away the next morning, but then we're like, what's this little cage out? Rob, did you leave that out? He's like, no. Did you leave that out? I said, no. And this little $6,500 snake has been out in my room for like 3 weeks. We tore this room apart. No matter how long I have been keeping snakes, it will never cease to amaze me how you can not find them.
Similar. I mean, I've found. Did you find it?
I found it today.
Okay, well, good. I've almost always found them, with the exception of one. But yeah, you can tear the room apart, and it's crazy.
You've literally looked every inch in that room.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
They're in there. They didn't go somewhere else, but they're gone. So I found there was this one little area up in the ceiling where there's like a little hole and a little cavity above it. And I was like, that'd be a good place to hide if I was a snake. So it's been weeks now that this guy's been out. So I just kind of look up there, and I looked up and I saw his face, and I'm like, he's in there. So we ripped the ceiling down. We're like, and he's gone. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's to give you an example, like, I don't know. Well, you can't see it because I have no background in here, but I've got like rafters going on in my ceiling, and there's like little, gaps between them. Well, I put drywall on the bottoms of those. So it makes this long, like if you had popped the hole in the ceiling, for example, they could get into one side and go back and forth. They can't go that way. They can't go that way. They're just in this one side back and forth. I ripped the whole side down. Snake's not there. Yeah, I saw him retreat into there. I ripped the whole ceiling down. Snake's not there. So I turned all my security cameras on to that area, and then I put a little like mouse out, to be all smelly and tasty down below it, because there was like this little pipe that came down from the hole that would allow him to climb up there. And I put a little mouse down at the bottom and a whole bunch of sticky traps all around it. And I was like, I'm going to catch you, little son of a gun. And sure enough, the video goes off. Snake's coming down the pipe from this gap that I checked because I tore my ceiling down to look inside of it. Every inch of it's covered. Somehow he was still up there and came down. I don't know how it happened.
Magic. It's magic. Just like I tell Noah sometimes.
It seems like magic.
I just say it's magic. And he starts trying to tell me, there's no such thing as magic, Dad. I'm like, yes, there is. Just because I use it irresponsibly doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Just because I take magic's name in vain doesn't mean he's not real.
Exactly, man.
Oh boy.
So wait, we had all these segments that we were going to do. I think we've done like one of them. Do we still have segments?
We do. But yesterday you were like, hey, let's podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, it's that time. And
That's
No
not
more
exactly
segments.
how it happened.
Sorry.
Okay, it's all right.
Sorry.
It's all good.
That is pretty much, I mean, we have the date. I knew it was coming, and then I lost track because.
Okay. I'm glad to see you taking some responsibility for this.
Sorry, I
I'm
failed you.
it's
You know what? You know what I'm going to do in light of this amazing podcast that we've had, full of rabbit trails with no segments whatsoever, except for the shaving of the arms during the DDSE. I want to turn it over to you guys, the Searchable as Reptiles community on Facebook. I am going to put a post up with the different titles of our segments. And I would like you guys to fill in the blanks about what you want us to talk about. How's that, Brian? And then you and I can go through. Yeah, I think that's better. I mean, like I said, these people who are listening to us, anyone that's listening this far into this podcast knows us better than we know ourselves. I'm just going to say.
Probably pretty accurate because I say a lot of things I don't remember what they are.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys that are following along, it's your time to shine. Give us some suggestions on the Searchable as Reptiles community page about stuff that we can talk about for these. I'd also like to do some more kind of like themed episodes. I do have some of those. Like I thought it would be kind of cool to have a money episode where we talk about money in reptiles. I think a lot of times people do the, Forrest used to always say the calculator cowboy thing,
Right.
But I think it would be cool to talk about our actual personal experiences financially.
Yeah, I've never
with
really
reptiles.
I've never really done that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, people don't talk about finances in general. I mean, you get in trouble at the dinner table if you ask your dad how much money he makes, and that's all in the family, right? So I think you and I are the perfect people to kind of open up about that and be honest with that. So I'd love to do a money episode. I think that'd be kind of cool. And how the reptile thing affects our personal lives. And then I thought it might be kind of fun to do a dad episode. Some experiences.
I would
And
love
Father's Day is coming up. So I'd love to hear experiences like you as a kid with your dad and how it translates to you now being a dad. You know how we always like, oh, I hate my dad does that. And then we
The
are
funny
like
thing
pretty
earlier-
much exactly them when we grow up.
Yeah, I see so many similarities. I swear that was something I was actually going to kind of go into that a little bit earlier when you're like, oh, did you want to finish? I was like, no, let's move on. I was about to move right into that, so I'm glad I didn't because now we'll save it for a whole
The dad thing.
episode. Yeah, the dad thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what I'd like to do is dive deep in the shallow end revolving around dads and have all our different segments revolving around dads or money or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I like it.
not all the time, just sometimes. I think it'd be kind of fun.
Sure, I'm into it.
So, yeah.
Well, snap, dude. I felt like this was a good one. Especially since the oh my gosh, the development of the idea of me hiring on a part-time employee, which is something I have slightly considered, but now I think I'm going to move forward with it. That alone, you shaving your arms, I feel like it's been good.
Yeah, the shaving the arms is going to take a while to recover from. And maybe oh my gosh, so many nerve endings here that I never have touched before.
Ooh.
Wow.
Now you're going to be shaving your whole body tonight.
Well, that's so part of I literally have phone calls. Robert, I know that you're listening to this. Robert is one of them. Phone calls from people calling me being like, Garrett, I've shaved my whole body for like 30 years. I can't stand body hair. Let me give you a few tips and pointers about this. And then these are, body shaving enthusiasts who also keep reptiles. So they were actually able to give me, real life personal experience. And when I said this, it was definitely a thought that I had, like, look how much they hate my arm hair. They like, bounce away off of it. So I've had the thought before, like, wouldn't it be funny if I shaved my arms to be a snake keeper, like a swimmer shaves his legs to be, hydrodynamic?
Yeah, I think we're all well aware of those thoughts that you've had.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, I just thought it was funny, the overwhelming response of everybody who was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So
yeah, well, I need to look into this electrolysis thing. Then maybe it's funny coming from one of the most hairless people on the planet.
Hey, you can always chase perfection.
All right, dude. I don't know. I feel like it's time to sign off, but I don't know how to do it now.
Yeah, pretty sure we have a segment for this, but we're not doing it.
I don't remember how it goes.
I
Maybe
don't
we should
think
do this
we
more
have
often than once a month. Nah.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening to this whole ridiculous podcast. We hope you enjoyed a little bit of off-topic banter here. And I do hope that you will join us on that Searchable as Reptiles community page on Facebook, because it's the coolest thing happening on Facebook. It's literally like one of the only pages that I do sit down and browse, because I feel like anybody listening here and chasing over there cares enough about whatever stupid things we say to be a cool person. So if you want to be a cool person, join that Facebook page.
Right on, dude.
Hope to see you guys there.
All right,
Have a
bro.
good one.
You too.
Take it easy.